Good evening, everybody. You are about to enter a world of imagination where battles are fought and won on hex maps and grids, whether on the table or virtually. Spells are cast, swords clash, and every obstacle can be bested with a little ingenuity and a lot of luck. Where heroes are forged in trial by fire, striking out into the dangerous unknown to create a tale worth retelling. Evil lurks in the depths of every dungeon. And in the soul of every hardened foe. This is not a world for the faint of heart. Adjust my levels here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a world for the faint of heart, but one who longs for the thrill of adventure and an experience not to be forgotten. With dice in hand and an open heart for adventure, I invite you all to come along with me as we journey into this Polyhedral Paradise. What is good this evening? How is everybody doing? First and foremost, I'd like to say hi to everybody in chat. Mike Porter, my favorite Porter, good to see you, sir. Wu-Tang Wells, pleasure as always. Gray, how are you? Captain Pennsylvania, my stalwart friend, lovely to see you here. Whiskey Steve says, good evening, y'all. First time to a live stream here. Whiskey Steve, it is a pleasure to have you. I hope your expectations are not high, because I have a penchant for banging your head against lowered expectations. Let's see. So, okay, let's see what you guys have to say, though. So, Gray says, hey. Cap says hi to everybody. Great, this is my YouTube jam. Yes, ma'am. I know it is. I'm glad you like it. Whiskey C says, I know nothing about D&D, but excited to see what this channel is about. It's about fun and about D&D. And later on, Whiskey Steve, if you're still here, we're going to do a thing we call Build a Campaign, where we're actually building a campaign from the ground up. Everybody who is here now gets points and time accrued in the campaign. They can jump in and play. We'll explain it all a little bit later, but I am glad to have you here. I really am. Captain Pennsylvania says, Steve, I'm pretty new, bro, but listening to Jason talk is fun, even if you don't know anything. Cap, I don't know anything either, so yeah. Mike Porter, cool opening. Thank you, sir. Captain Pennsylvania, Jason stole my hat, and Captain Pennsylvania stole my heart. That's all I have to say to that. Let's see. Awesome. Whiskey Steve, cheers to that. So the first thing we're going to do, for anybody who is new here, we're going to do our Ravenloft Minute. So tonight, for our Ravenloft Minute, we are going to take a look at the old module, Feast of Goblins. This is our Adventure RA1. This is a 96-page module for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. It was the first module released for the Ravenloft box set. So let's read off of the back here. So you can see the front here. The back of Feast of Goblins says, in Feast of Goblins, a party of adventurers is mysteriously transported from the lands they know to the dark and dangerous demiplane known as Ravenloft. Trapped in this realm of terror, they must use their skills to escape the manipulations of one of Ravenloft's most powerful lords as they attempt to seek out the accursed Crown of Soldiers. If all goes well, they might just live long enough to escape the dread land and return to their homes. So, if nobody knows what Ravenloft is, it's basically a demiplane of complete and utter evil where people get trapped for eternity, and the land will grant you powers if you're evil enough. So, this module takes place in... Let's open it up. So let's crack it open. Okay. So first of all, we're going to take a look, and the cover of the module. Yeah. Captain Pennsylvania says, we eating goblins? Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Precious. My precious. Guys, how does my audio sound? I feel like it's a little scratchy. Is it just me? So, anyway, Feast of Goblins, you can see the opened up, right? So, on the inside, they gave us a proto DM screen. Okay? It is, on the inside here, you have altered priest spells, tables for turning undead, tables for turning undead in Ravenloft, fear checks, simultaneous fear and harder checks, Ravenloft powers checks, which was... Thanks, Cap. It can be better. Okay. Let's see if I can fix whatever's going on there. It does sound scratchy. I don't... let's see. Hang on 1 second, guys. I apologize for a little bit of technical difficulties. How about now? Is that any better? I still feel like it's scratchy. How about now? Alright, well, we're going to go with that. I hope it's a little bit better. But if it's not, we'll figure out what's going on at some point. So, okay. So anyway, so inside of this... Inside of this DM screen, like I said, we've got the Ravenloft powers checks, horror checks, and a whole large list of altered spells. So the one thing a lot of players don't know new to Ravenloft is their spells don't work like they're supposed to. That's correct. So if you go to Ravenloft and you go to try to cast something like Clairvoyance, okay? So with Clairvoyance, there's a 50% chance of failure. The spell creates a ghostly eye that can be dispelled, and the gaze attacks the eye onto the caster. So, yeah, Ravenloft affects a whole lot of things differently than you would expect, because it's a horrific demiplane. So let me do this. I'm gonna drop this out. So yeah, so Ravenloft changes a lot of things once you enter, because it's demiplane of pure evil. Okay, so that's just some things that are inside of that cover there. So I'm still chat's going crazy talking about fishy frog legs. Whiskey Steve says Thai frog legs are good. I love Thai. Thai is fantastic. Captivania says, I hate fish. Fish don't care much for you either. Yeah. So, Whiskey Steve says something about you is Fishy Cap. Oh, you have no idea how Fishy Cap can be. So, let's take a look. So, we took a look at the inside of the cover. So, we're going to set that aside now. This is true. Es verdad. So inside, one of the things that I used to love about these modules. Now, keep in mind, this is a module. This isn't a like a box set or something like that. So this module comes with this pretty gigantic fold-out map. Yeah, the green. I didn't expect that. The green is chroming out. So it is a map of the land of Carticus. Not only that, you've got a bunch of stables and a couple cities. You have Sklad, Harmona, and Hamalach. I assume it's Hamalach because it's supposed to be Eastern European. So, yeah. So that's your fold-out map that it came with. And keep in mind, this stuff is from 1993, and it is still in pretty good condition because I've collected it, but I have never ran it. So we've also got this picture here of the Carticon Inn with pertinent information on the back side. Let's see. Cap asks, are we using our existing characters? If you ever go to Ravenloft, which you probably won't, yes, we can use your existing characters. So we also have this additional fold out here, which I've clipped. You notice I clipped that here because on the inside, these were two templates for character sheets. And I took that symbol up here that used to say Ravenloft up there. I took that and I turned it into my very own character sheet. But yeah, so that's the old school character sheet. One thing you'll notice over here is there's a line for calculating Thaco. All right, in chat, who can tell me what Thaco is or what it was? Does anybody remember what it stands for? I give you 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, fine. It stands for 2-hit armor class 0. So there's a whole calculation that you had to go through to figure out what you had to roll above to hit an armor class 0. It's a lot more easy nowadays because if your armor class is 17, you have to roll at a 17 or above in order to hit. But Thaco was different. The lower your armor class, the better. So if you had an armor class of 0, say your Thaco was 6, you had to roll above a 6 to hit armor class 0. So it was some high math involved in trying to figure out if you could hit. Yeah. Whiskey Steve. I had a character in 5th grade. I can use him? Yes. Sure. You know, why not? I love history in D&D. If you got a character used in 5th grade, 4th grade, I still use characters I made back in 83 when I first started playing. Yep. So, yeah, most definitely. So, on the back side of this, we have 4 more maps. Just taking a look at here. This is Jackless Homestead, Jackless Homes, Onesh Home, and Onesh Homesteads. So that's it for the totality of the handouts on this. So, what is interesting about this module, other than how like thick it is thick. It's thick. This was the first module in the 6-part series of modules that dealt with the Grand Conjunction. So the Strahd von Zarovich was the first inhabitant of Ravenloft, and he spent his entire life trying to figure out how to get out of Ravenloft. And the 6 modules, excuse me guys for 1 second. Excuse me. All right, so Strahd. So Strahd spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get out of Ravenloft, along with Aslan the Lich. So the 6 modules dealt with the Grand Conjunction. The Grand Conjunction was an event where they actually managed to pull Ravenloft into the material plane, and the players would play through these 6 modules and basically try to stop the Grand Conjunction. So this is the first one. So does anybody want me to read a little bit from this, or do we want to get to story time? The year Flutie won the Heisman. I think I was born that year too. Bills talk already? Seriously, I had a box of Flutie Flakes. Does anybody remember Flutie Flakes? Flutie Flakes were awesome. Alright, so that's basically the module. So more or less, that's a module of Feast of Goblins. We're not going to get into too much of it, because there's a lot of stuff to get to tonight, but I want to try something new. We're going to do story time. Bo, but you say we always do story time. What's new about story time? Yes, we do always do story time, but we usually let me read to you. But today, we're going to do interactive story time. Does anybody remember Choose Your Own Adventure books? Raise your hand in chat if you remember Choose Your Own Adventure books. Oh, Whiskey Steve says, I almost didn't make it to Nerd Card because open house. Are you trying to sell your house, or were you at an open house, Steve? All right. So, since we're all familiar with okay, so we have three Choose Your Own Adventure books. Oh, school open house. Okay, yeah. Oh my God, school is going to be something this season. Okay, so we've got 3 Choose Your Own Adventure books. One of them is actually a Which Way book. This is the Castle of No Return. The second book we have on tap is Hyperspace. The third book we have is Inside UFO 5440. Now, we're going to do a little Choose Your Own Adventure live on the air before we get into some more D&D talk. What book do you all want to read from? Put 1 in the chat for Castle No Return, put 2 for Hyperspace, and put 3 for Inside UFO 5440. So we're not going to read through the whole thing. It's just something fun I wanted to do, because I absolutely love these books, and these were like a lot of my young inspiration for trying to get into storytelling and for reading. Okay, we got one vote for the Castle of No Return. So I'm gonna set that on the side. I'm gonna put you over here. 2, Mike Porter says Castle of No Return. Gray has a vote for Hyperspace. 1 vote for Hyperspace. So far, that's 2-1 Castle of No Return. Let's see. Now, if I were a fan jacksher, I could, whip this up. Oh, Whiskey Steve votes Inside UFO 5440. That's one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. Love that one. All right, so we'll give everybody 10 more seconds to pick. So far, the Castle of No Return is in the lead. I know everybody enjoys story time, right? I enjoy story time. So after story time, we're going to get into a segment I like to call At My Table, where I'm going to give you guys a D&D tip. Because I was thinking a lot today about roles and ability scores. So Steve says he's just being edgy. No, man, that's a good one. Captain Pennsylvania says his friend always wants one. Well, I mean, who's your friend, Cap? Who you got over there? Is that a mouse in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? All right. So we're going to go, keeping with the somewhat D&D feel of a castle. We're going to go read a little bit of Castle No Return. Now, how this is going to work, I'm going to read the segment, and then I'll ask you guys a question, and basically you'll have to tell me what page to turn to. So in chat, you're going to vote on which page you want to go to, just numerically. So let's turn down the music so you guys can hear me. So the book starts off like this. I mean, how weird is it to get read on stream? Like it's a this is a freaking bedtime story, right? Okay, the book opens. One night, as you are watching your favorite television program, the picture begins to wiggle and a loud buzz fills the room. You try to adjust the set, but nothing works. In fact, the picture gets worse and the buzz gets louder. Angry and frustrated, you turn off the TV. You talk to your friends and discover that every television set in town has been disrupted. The next morning, you hear strange electronic sounds. You discover that they are coming from the woods behind your house, and you decide to investigate them. You pull out your Swiss Army knife in your pocket and set out in the direction of the noise. Continuing on page 3. Here's if anybody wants to see the illustration. That's the illustration of the castle you come across in your backyard. Hi, Marcus. You want to say hi?
What are you reading?
Huh? I'm reading a book.
No, what is that book?
It is the Castle of No Return. Everybody, Marcus. Marcus, this is everybody. Say hi. You've been hiking for hours when the sky suddenly turns black and you are caught in a fierce storm. The storm is short, but you are wet and shivering when you come across a part of the woods that you have never been to before. In front of you is a castle, a real castle with a moat and turrets and high walls. To the side of you is a rickety old shack. If you choose to swim to the moat in order to reach the castle, turn to page 4. If you want to explore the shack, turn to page 5. So there are your choices. If you want to go into the castle, put 4 in chat. If you want to go into the shack, put 5. So 4 and 5, the choice is yours. Choice? Did I say choice? Captain Pennsylvania says shack. Cap's voting shack. Is my audio still fuzzy, guys, or did it straighten itself out? Oh, overwhelmingly 5 thus far. All right. Whiskey Seas, what up, kid? Mike Porter, hey, man. All right, so we're going to go shack, just for time's sake. So, and because that's basically what you guys want to do. Okay, it's okay. I'll figure it out later. You walk towards the shack. There's no light inside, but you hope that the door is unlocked so that you can go in and warm yourself. By now, you're shivering so violently that your whole body is shaking. You can barely control yourself enough to knock on the door. Just as you raise your hand, you hear the ferocious growl of a dog. If you decide to knock on the door and enter the shack, turn to page 7. If you decide that you do not want to go in, turn to page 10. So, there are your there are your two choices. Do we want to knock on the door, or do we want to not go in? If you want to knock on the door, put 7 in chat. If you want to go away, put 10. Danny Orange, how are you doing? Danny says, uh-oh, what's up, you sexy fellowship of nerds? What is up to you, good sir? Stash inbound. Alright, Cap says let's go kick the dog's ass. He votes 7. Whiskey Steve, fuck that dog. Also a 7. So, just enjoying the best lineup of YouTube shows around. I immediately love this. Danny, thank you so much. I appreciate that, buddy. Actually, this is new tonight. Usually I just read to everybody, but tonight we're doing, to start off, we're doing a little Castle and No Return, a little Choose Your Own Adventure book. So, Mike Porter also says we're going to go knock on the shack and kick the door's ass. Kick the door's ass? The dog's ass. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to turn to page 7. So, you knock. A light goes on, and the door opens slowly. Hello, says a man. My name is Boris. Please come in from the cold. You glance at the huge mastiff that is chained to the wall. Don't worry about Killer, says Boris. He will not do anything without my command. First of all, I wouldn't trust a dog named Killer, but whatever. So, all right, you say in a shaking voice as you enter the shack. You look hungry, Boris says. Would you like a bowl of soup? If you decide to eat Boris's soup, turn to page 15. If you decide not to eat Boris's soup, turn to page 17. So there, that is the question that we now face. Do we want to eat the soup? Put 15 in chat. If we don't want to eat the soup, 17 in chat. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. Whiskey Steve, Danny, it's my first time here, enjoying it. And we haven't even gotten to the D&D stuff yet. This is just something new. All right, Captain Pennsylvania says, I don't trust Boris, so he doesn't want to eat the soup. He doesn't want no soup for you. Mike also doesn't trust the soup. Oh, Whiskey Steve. Oh, hell, I'm hungry. I'll eat Boris's soup. Oh, that's tied. Oh, no, Danny Orange comes in with a tiebreaker. 3-2, don't eat the soup. So, no, Danny, I don't, no soup for you. All right, so right now we're 3-2. We're not eating the soup. We're not. Oh, is anybody coming in the last minute? Marcus, what do you think? Should we eat the soup or not?
Yes.
Eat the soup? Oh, we're tied. Oh, my God. No, what are we going to do?
What?
Huh?
What do you have to do?
Well, we're either going to eat the soup or not eat the soup.
Eat the soup.
Eat the soup? Oh, man. We're tied. What do we do? All right, so I guess... Get the Pennsylvania. No, don't eat the soup. All right, okay. I guess I'm a tiebreaker in this case unless anybody one jumps in at the last second. So right now it's 3-3. Whiskey Steve, they're starving kids, yo. I mean, Marcus ain't starving. He just ate like 2 bowls of grits and a bunch of shrimp. But anyway, all right. So anybody last second jumping in with a vote? Because I'm gonna decide. I think I'm with Cap. I don't trust Boris's soup. So I'm going not eating the soup. All right. So we're gonna turn to page 17. All right, everybody ready? You refuse Boris's offer of the soup, and politely as you can. You sense that he is annoyed, but you do not care. Boris begins to speak to you. You are sleepy, very sleepy, he says. Your eyelids are heavy. You are very sleepy. You can barely keep your eyes open. You realize that Boris is trying to hypnotize you and that you should fight off his attempt. But you are so tired that you want more than anything to close your eyes and sleep. If you try to resist the hypnosis, turn to page 30. If you're so tired that you can't resist, turn to page 31. All right, so are we resisting or are we going to sleep? If we're resisting, 30 in chat. If we can't resist, 31. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to check up. Danny Orange says, no worries, brah. I accomplished a little something. Oh, sorry. Whiskey Steve, Boris going to smash your head in for denying his food. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of Eastern European companies where you don't want to, like, deny people food. But, you know, I mean, not, you know, deny things of food. Okay, Cap says we're resisting. Whiskey Steve wants to take a nap. Danny Orange wants to resist. Oh, Gray also wants to resist. That's 3-1. I don't know. I'm feeling resist. I don't know if I'm Boris, Mr. Bad Touch. I don't know if I want to fall asleep in his house. I'm just saying. I mean, all right, I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes. We're going to give it a little countdown here. So we'll do like a 15-second countdown. And remember, that's page 30 if we want to try to resist, and page 31 if we cannot resist. You can't resist, Boris. You already refuse to stoop. Stoop. Captain Venus says, about time you got on my side, Gray. Cap, everybody's on your side with, oh, Mike Porter jumping in. He wants to resist too. I mean, there's only one for sleeping. I mean, how funny is it resist hypnotist successfully? Classic. All right, we're going to resist. So let's turn to page 30. Let's see. Rut-row. Okay, no, we're good. You are determined not to let Boris hypnotize you. You concentrate on staying awake. You think about your room at home and make a mental list of as many things in it that you can remember. You think about your cat, about your pizza, about your ice cream. Why are these things in your room? And about football games. You think about Superman and Miss Piggy and roller skating and TV. Convinced that he has hypnotized you, Boris stops talking and prepares to go to bed. Soon he is asleep, but you are wide awake. Turn to page 51. Good job. A rut-row. This is the Whiskey Steve. Page 1 and I'll pour another whiskey. Page 2 I'll pour another shot. Steve, I vote 1 and 2. Congratulations on a short night. Nighty-night. All right. You stand up quietly as you can and tiptoe to the door. You open it. The hinges creak. The dog's ears move, but he does not wake up. You look at Boris. He is still fast asleep. Once you are out the door, you begin to run. After a few minutes, you look back towards the shack. There's no movement, and you know you are safe. Once you are home, you wonder if your friends will believe the story. You know one thing's for sure. You are not going to take them on a tour to prove it. The end. And you have escaped Mr. Boris Rapey Face. Congratulations, fellas. That was the first installment of Choose Your Own Adventure here on Storytime on Up Late with the Dungeon Master. Good job, y'all. Now, I've read that before. There were so many different ways I could have gone. Like, a lot of them are extremely deadly and bloody. Oh, it's so fantastic. You guys got off light. I commend you, though. Good job. All right, so we're actually going to get into a little D&D stuff. No, Cap says, did he die? No, you didn't die. You got out. You ran away from Boris. So there's lots of ways it could have went. All right, so getting into the actual D&D stuff. I was thinking today about ability scores, and I strength, dexterity, constitution, and then checks we make based off of them. I don't know. There's some people in here may not know a whole lot about D&D, but there's 6 scores that form the basis of your character. It's strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma. So a lot of times in game we have to make checks based off of those scores. Like if you're trying to talk somebody into giving you something, or then you would use your charisma check. If you were trying to climb a set of steps, you would use your dexterity. So there's lots of different ways those numbers come into play. So a lot of times you have high numbers, and it was sort of like dexterity checks that we're thinking about. So if somebody has a dexterity of 17, you would assume that they're pretty dexterous. They can do whatever. They don't run into any problems. And people sort of brush aside checks for doing simple things. Are you guys with me so far? So like walking up a flight of steps, walking up a flight of steps, walking up an incline on a hill, crossing a rope bridge. Usually with the dexterity high enough, people sort of hand wave these things. They're like, we'll have no problem doing it. You can do it easily. But the reason I like to make people roll in those situations is because the checks, while they do tell you how dexterous a person is, I feel like those checks also sort of determine how unstable the surrounding area is. So it's not just about you, it's about the environment. So when you're walking up a set of steps, yes, you may be completely dexterous and never any concerns about easily walking up a flight of steps. But that roll, to me, also determines the instability of the environment. So if you're walking up a flight of steps and your dexterity is a 17 and you've got a +3 or +4, sorry, but you blow the roll and you roll a 4, it doesn't necessarily, to me in my mind, mean that you weren't able to walk up the steps, but it accounts for that loose board. It accounts for the squeaky board if you're trying to sneak. It accounts for the grease stain that's on the steps. That's what causes you to slip. That's what causes you to make noise on your squeak check. So it's, to me, you should always make those rolls regardless of whether you have a high number or not, because it adds depth and enjoyment to the game and an area of uncertainty. So that is my quick little segment on talking about ability checks and why you, even if you have a high number, you should always try to make the rolls. So, all right, we're real quick before we get into some new products that were released from Wizards of the Coast this week. I'd like to go take a dip into the hot tub, and that means it's time for Q&A. Going in the hot tub, gonna make you sweat. Ha! All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Ask a DM Q&A. Anybody out there have any questions, throw them at me. It doesn't have to be D&D related, because I know a lot of people here aren't particularly familiar with D&D. It can be life related. It can be about movies. It can be about mental health or oral hygiene. Just ask away. We're going to do a Q&A for a few minutes, and then we're going to get into some new products. Yeah. Cap says, this dude's got a hot tub. I do. And I got it into my clothes. So I personally like my hot tub set at 104 degrees. Danny, this man is loving his Streamlabs as much as I am. I do. I have a whole bunch of stuff. There's stuff's coming, but I really do enjoy my Streamlabs. So ask away any type of questions. I mean, it could be relationship questions. I don't care. I just like answering things. So let's see. Oh no, Captain Pennsylvania, Boris did not die. He just went to sleep. And we escaped. But we'll, if you like that, we'll probably run through one of the other books next Wednesday. So, amen. Cap, do I have fun streaming? Yes.
All the gifts now.
Yes, I do enjoy streaming. Why wouldn't I? Don't we all? Patreon brought this man a hot tub, Cap. Yeah. Wells, yes, Patreon brought me a hot tub. A virtual hot tub.
It's a virtual. It's not real, so don't listen to him if he says it's real.
You're calling me out. It's not real. Alright. Danny R's. It's addicting, right? Yes, it is. Okay, Whiskey Steve says, if you could go on a quest to destroy the One Ring or take back the Lonely Mountain, what would you choose? Gotta go Lonely Mountain. Have to go Lonely Mountain. That's actually interesting. When I would go camping, so if anybody doesn't know that Marcus going away. Oh, okay. I thought you were coming in again. So anybody doesn't know, when I would go camping, we would go LARP camping, and we would we had names and everything. And my name was Thorin Oakenshield, so of course, anything that has to do with the Lonely Mountain and the dwarves, I would definitely take that over the ring. Let the hobbits handle the ring. That's a legit Panama hat. Actually, this is I think this came from a costume shop. I don't know. It's actually one of my kids. Whiskey Steve. I love that kid. Yeah, Marcus is awesome. Marcus is funny. He's over here watching what are you watching? Rebecca's I don't know. Not gonna work here anymore. Bro, I have Thor. Do you? Whiskey Steve has Thorn's symbol tattooed on an arm. That's crazy. Thorin Oakenshield. I was excited when The Hobbit came out because I wanted to see Thor in a live action, and I was kind of disappointed because I had myself built up to be something more than he was. So, I know no king but the king under the mountain. Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. So I tell you what, we're gonna take a look now at this week was a big week. Oh, dragging him down. Yawn. Hopefully. So this week was a real big week for Wizards of the Coast. Oh, okay. No, dude, Richard Armitage himself killed it. I don't know. You get things, you have things a certain way in your head, and I didn't expect Thorin to be as much of a dick as he ended up being. I don't know. I guess that was where I was with it. But yeah. But Richard Armitage did a good job. Yeah. Captain Pennsylvania says D&D or sex. Pick one unless it's PG, then don't. Cap, no stream I do is PG. And I decline the answer because it's just not a good look if I answer correctly. All right, so my dad is the OG Thorn because he read it to me growing up. Whiskey Steve, that's awesome. To have your father read you Lord of the Rings, and I assume the whole trilogy, that is fantastic. That is cool. Why not both? Why not the Doring? Really? Natural 20. Oh, sorry. It's a PG stream. It's not. But I rolled a 1. I fell off the bed and I broke my ankle. That's a funny thing. All right, so let's get into some products that were released this week. Not released, but announced. So the first thing we have Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So they're calling Tasha's Cauldron of Everything the most important new D&D book of 2020, which isn't hard because there's only like 4 books that have been released this week. So Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is going to be a major rules expansion for D&D. There's going to be, I get the breakdown here. We're taking a look at an article from Inverse. Okay. Now I did a video on Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. If anybody has seen it, it was just a quick breakdown of what we can expect to see. I didn't go into too much depth in this inverse article. We're going to go into it a little bit more. So this right here is a picture of Tasha. They call her the Witch Queen, the mother of witches. Although in traditional lore, Tasha didn't have that much to do with witches. I feel like they're retconning it a little bit. So let's take a look. Tasha's Cauldron, Everything, Rules and Subclass Additions. Now, if everybody in here isn't too into D&D and this is the first time you guys are here, I may start to lose you a little bit. If I do, I apologize. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. But this is going to be for like people who may be a little bit more familiar about D&D, but we'll get into it. So perhaps the biggest draw in all of Tasha's Cauldron and Everything will be the addition of 22 new subclasses. So they're going to have additions for every class in the game, including the relatively new Artificer class, along with reprints of the following. So whoever doesn't know, Artificer is basically an android robot type class that was introduced in Eberron. Now, Eberron is a techno magic setting, so they're stripping down the Artificer, removing a lot of the Eberron facade to it, and importing it into regular D&D. Captain Pennsylvania, will I get to kill Tasha? Negative, sir. No. Tasha is actually one of the she's an OG. She was invented back in Greyhawk by Gary Gygax. So she was a lot like, if you think of her in the way that some of the characters that I create or that players create end up becoming NPCs and then become like she was a player character back in Gygax days, and she ended up becoming a witch queen. Stop putting Cap on. Cap is not on rails. He's not going to encounter her to kill it. It's okay. So these are some reprints. We're going to have a reprint of the Order Domain, the Cleric subclass from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. The Circle of Spores Druid, that's subclass from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. College of Eloquence Bard from Mystic Odyssey of Theros. Oath of Glory Paladin from Mystic Odyssey of Theros, and the Blade Singer Wizard from Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Now, if you take a look at the reprints, you notice that 2 of them are from Ravnica and 2 of them are from Theros, which is crazy because Theros just came out not that long ago, and reprint something already shows you that I don't think a whole lot of people bought that book. I don't think they did, and people, classic D&D people, probably didn't want as much to do with Magic the Gathering settings as they thought they were going to. So they took the cool subclasses and reprinted them in regular D&D for the people who were like, I'm not playing Magic the Gathering in D&D. So the various psionic spells and subclasses featured earlier this year in Unearthed Arcana will be present in the book, including the psionic mind source for subclasses. Artificer is also getting a 4th official subclass, the Armorer. Its inclusion implies the book will also contain Circle of the Stars Druid and the Fey Wanderer for the Ranger, 2 subclasses that appeared alongside Armorer in some of the UA playtesting documentation. So they're digging back through a lot of the UA stuff that we saw earlier in the year and bringing them into this book. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything will be released on November 17th. So there's a bunch of other stuff on Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, but seeing as how we're on the November 17th day, let's take a look at a little something that I found that nobody is talking about. Has anybody ever heard of the Great Dalmudi? I'll give you a couple seconds. Has anybody ever heard of the Great Dalmudi? No, neither have I. So the Great Dalmudi is a card game created by the same person who created Magic the Gathering. Only not really. Because the card game originally goes back to the Middle Ages. It's a card game called President. And in the Great Dalmuti, you have 13 set of number cards. You have 13 13s, 12 12s, 11 11s, 10 10s, so on and so forth. You guys get the idea, right? So what the object of the game is, you have to play with at least 4 people, and as many as Danny Arn says, it's a different Wizards card game. Yes, it is, and it's actually pretty interesting. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good party game. I'll show you some pictures in a second. So the gameplay works like this, and it's just a quick overview. The object is to get rid of all your cards as quickly as possible. So you start off, everybody draws a card. Whoever has the lowest number card is the Great Dalmuti. So you have the Great Dalmuti, a Lesser Dalmuti. You can have, if you have more than 4 people, you have a court, and then you have the peon and the lesser peon. And they sit in order of the table going clockwise. So the Great Dalmuti starts, and he lays down a certain number of cards. Like you would lay down like four 13s, or I'm sorry, 4 12s. Then the person next to him would have to lay down 4 and then a lesser numerical value. So he would have to lay down 4 11s. Then so on and so forth. You go around a table, he would have to lay down, the next person would have to lay down 4 10s, and the last person to go out collects all the, collects the cards. Basically, whoever goes out first wins. It's like a trick-taking game. But they've taken it and they've recoded it with D&D skins. So we've got the Great Dalmuti, the Mindminster, Baroness, Templar, Spinner, I guess like a spider, Breeder, Exterminator. That's actually a oh my gosh, what is that called? I forget what it's called. This is let's see. Okay, it's not MTG. No, it's not. It's a game you can sit down. It's like a party game. It's a real simple party game. Danny Arndt says, I honestly love the fuck out of Magic the Gathering. I would have made that a focus of my show, but the best extension doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, but I respect you, Danny, considering you're here. But Magic the Gathering has its place, but it's not. This place is not in D&D, but that's another topic for another time. So that they snuck that in, that it has the same release date as the Ratcatcher. That has the same release date as Tasha's Cauldron and everything, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it. So I'm actually going to do a full video on that. It seems like a really fun party game. There is let's see. The Great Dalmuti is being resurrected with a Dungeons and Dragons twist. So I'm just going to read a little bit here from the blurb on Gizmodo. And this is from an article on 8.3. 25 years ago, legendary Magic creator Richard Garfield had another card game in the works, The Great Dalmuti, a medieval spin on the trick-taking game President. Outside of a brief reprint in 2005, it's faded into gaming history, but now it's back with a shiny new coat of paint from the Forgotten Realms. IO9 can exclusively reveal the first look at the return of the game as The Great Dalmuti Dungeons and Dragons. It's still the same strategic social game of one-upping your opponents to gain control and an attempt to maintain the favor of the Great Dalmuti as you try to trade away your cards for victory. But now, instead of playing on a faux medieval court, you're a part of the world of Faerun and beyond. Say goodbye to the Knight, Archbishop, Baroness, and say hello to the Templar, Mindminster, and the Baroness. So you can just see here some of the pictures. They're pretty large cards. The rule book is thick. I think it's like 82 total cards. So if we're ever face to face again in some capacity, it would be really, really fun to play with y'all. But not particularly D&D, not particularly Magic the Gathering, something completely different, falling through the cracks. All right, the last thing we're going to take a look at now before we build a little bit of our campaign, we're going to take a look at the new Dungeon Master Screen Wilderness Kit. So, for anybody who doesn't know, usually when D&D releases an adventure, such as Out of the Abyss, Curse of Strahd, they also release its very own Dungeon Master Screen. Now, the Dungeon Master Screen has all sort of pertinent information to the adventure right at your fingertips. Tables, equipment lists, all kinds of stuff like dealing specifically with that adventure goes up in front of you. It separates you from the players. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, and I think anybody who, even if you haven't played D&D, you kind of get that picture of like that separation between the players and the DM. That's the DM screen. Well, this one is a wilderness kit in addition to a screen. So included in it are 5 dry erase sheets featuring hex maps, food and water tracker, a rules reference with wilderness chases, wilderness journeys, and actions you can take in combat. There's 27 cards and make it easy to track conditions, initiative, and environmental effects, and a box to hold the cards. Its price is $24.99. Let's see. Well, says I need about 20% more pizzazz on Dungeon Master Wilderness Screen. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to. Let's go check out. Let's take a look at it on Amazon. Now, let's see. So, I'm going to bring up a picture here. So there's a laminated actions and combat sheet for new players to reference and keep up with adventuring rules with handy reference sheets for wilderness rules and chaos. So this really is going to be helpful for beginners, because I was looking at it before and it doesn't really show it here. Each one of the cards has a different conditions like stunned, surprised, not unconscious. So the cards are broken down and it tells you the effect right on there. That's going to be helpful for new players. So let's see, you can see it here. Deafened, charmed, blinded, incapacitated, grappled, frightened, petrified, paralyzed, invisible. Yeah, so, and then you don't really get a good shot of what's on the inside of the screen, but I know they're going to have rules on slowed movements, on what it's like to have to go through harsh weather conditions. Is going to be pretty neat and useful. And seeing as how we're going to be getting the Icewind Dale book coming out shortly before this, actually in only a couple weeks, I could see this being somehow tied into that, because we're going to have to do a lot of adventuring in cold weather conditions with the Icewind Dale. So that's that. I'm going to do I don't want to get into too much of it because I'm doing a complete video on it, but that was also something that was snuck in that's getting released today. Now, or I'm sorry, an announcement of stuff that's coming out on the 17th. One of the things I really like about that is the erasable hex maps. So you can chart your progress and just erase it. Chart your progress, erase it. Long gone are the days of writing 3 lines on a single piece of hex map and then just tossing it out and throw it away. Yeah. Captain Pennsylvania says, I thought I only blocked the dice. No, they're actually useful on the other side. So, any questions about any of this stuff before we move into a little bit of world building? We're running a little behind, but I don't have anywhere else to be. Do you guys? You guys got anywhere else to be? So any questions on any of that stuff? Now keep in mind, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on that stuff a little bit later in videos. I'm losing my voice here. So, we're going to go right into world building. World building 101. So if you remember, we are building our world that we lovingly at this point called Nerdvosa. So what we're doing, for anybody who doesn't know, we're building out this campaign map. And we're going to create an entire world It is going to be a techno magic world. And then once that's done, we're going to populate it with cities, with, let's see. Yeah, the kits are not worth the money. No, I think the screen's going to be worth it because the pillar of play that gets forgotten a lot is exploration. And I think this exploration kit is going to fix that and really bolster up the exploration pillar. So I was saying, yeah, so once our world is finished and we are done populating the islands with cities, with structures, with land masses, we're going to create a government system. We're going to create an entire world. Then we're going to create 4 characters that everybody who is here now is going to be able to take a turn playing in this world. And everybody's going to be able to pop in and pop out to play these characters how they see fit. And all you have to do to earn time to play in the world with us is be here and contribute to the making of the map and the making of the campaign. So everybody who is here tonight has accrued 3 hours of playtime in our campaign world. And we're going to dive into doing a little more. It's late, so we're just going to add some details to one of the islands. What do you guys think? Should we do this island here south of Marrowstone? How's that sound? So we can, these are the Cinder Shores Islands. These are Cinder Shores. So let's zoom in here to this little island. So what do you guys think? Should we have this low-lying? Should we have this being a forest island, a desert island? Now we're throwing out all the contemporary rules of land masses. So if we wanted to, even if this doesn't make any sense, where like if you take a look here, if this island were tropical, if we wanted to do this island completely frozen over, we could do that. I'm not worried about ley lines. I'm not worried about if it makes sense geographically. Let's get gonzo with it. So what do you think? Cap in Pennsylvania says, can I change my name when I play? Yeah, Cap, you're going to have a completely new name. Well, you're not going to be using your own name. Whiskey Steve, which dad's name you're going to pick, Cap? Yeah, like one of the 55. Boom, roasted. Cap's out thinking Jim Kelly. All right, Gray says forest. Anybody else second that? Should we make this forest style? So what we're going to do, we're definitely going to put some forest in here, but I'm feeling... Just quick FYI, you get message on your end almost a full 30 seconds. Really? That's weird that it's coming in that slow. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate you letting me know. I'll have to take a look in and adjust that. So, the forest is good. All right, so. So we're going to start. First thing we're going to do is do a base layer. And we're going to do a base layer of grass. We're going to do dark grass. So let's take, we're going to open a catalog. You can see all these layers here. So let's do this dark green here. So this is going to be our base layer for the forest floor. We're going to paint a little happy little trees in here. All these happy little trees. Forest is good. Yeah, glacier. We can do a glacier on the back side. What if we did an ice wall So we have all this forest, and then we did an ice wall on the backside that dropped off down to the ocean. Okay, so fill that in. All right. It can rain lava on this island. I like that, Cap. We should do that on the island that was a little up north that had the line of volcanoes. Yeah. Happy little rain and volcanoes. Okay, so we're going to go to our stamp tool. And we're going to take a look. We're going to open a catalog. Pine trees, regular trees, swamp trees, jungle trees. Let's do jungle trees. So we're going to reduce the size of the jungle trees to make them fit. Actually, that's a pretty good size. So I have it set to random stamps. So what happens with random stamps? There's 10 different types of jungle trees. So when we click them, it automatically changes the type of trees. So I don't have to go click it and change it and make it look different each time. So we're gonna ring it out here. Make some trees. Let's see. My mouth is on fire with this sauce. What kind of sauce you got, Whiskey? What kind of sauce you got, Mr. Steve? Yes, I love jungles. What can I say? I'm a natural born Kong. We should do a mountain that has a hole in it where a King Kong may or may not live. That'd be cool. So we're gonna do forest. Forest, I know. Okay, so we've got forests that lead right up to the edge of the beach. So go with that. Last stab of the Hot Ones, man. Have you seen that show, Hot Ones? I enjoy that. I stumbled across that by accident after Impractical Jokers. I like the Hot Ones show. Okay, so Wells wants to do some glaciers on the back side of this island, and I agree with him. You just have to pull that up. So we're open the catalog again. Snow-capped mountains, snow. See what we got. All right, let's go. Snow-capped. This one here, gray mountains. No. Love that show. I have their hottest sauce. I'm gonna have to try it. I've never bought any of it. All right, so let's go with the Snow Mountains medium. Okay. Ooh, that's really big. Let me drop the size of that down. Placement density. No, that's density. And here's size. So if we want to, I don't know if everybody can see that. See how the size of that mountain right now is like huge? I just come up to this slider, bring it over, and I can make it as small as I need to. It's actually probably too small. There we go, 29. All right. Well, says does it make you shit fire? Probably. So we're gonna have this right across the backside, this glacier ridge. So we're gonna have it across the backside of this island. Maybe a little bit up here. Something hard to traverse. All right. How's that look to everybody? Does that look interesting? I think it looks pretty interesting. All right. Icon Human City. We're going to do a small little volcano. Oh, nope. Nope, that's not. I can't get any smaller. All right. I'm going to open the catalog back up, and let's put a small town on the back side of this glacier. Human building. So we just need something that represents a town. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be villages, towns. So Plumber shows up. All right, let's make this a little bit bigger. Too big. So we're gonna put a town on the backside of this glacier. Right there. This always reminds me of The Legend of Zelda. Just a little tiny deals. You alright, bud? You okay? Okay. Let's zoom in. So, guys, I think seeing as how we're an hour and 10 minutes on a camp for the wildlings. That sounds good. Seeing as how we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and I bugged you guys a lot, and we've knocked one more island out. I'm probably going to call it here for tonight unless anybody else has anything they want to go over or talk about or any questions. Whiskey C says, damn y'all, I'm going to have to head to bed soon. 10 or 5:30 Central Time comes fast. Yeah, 5:30 Central Time comes pretty fast. And actually, it's 11:25 here on the East, and I got to get to bed myself soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go back to the main screen and say thank you all so very much for hanging out with me tonight.
I see him.
You see him? Yeah. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. We do this every Wednesday. I'm going to try next time to get to the map building a little bit early. I enjoyed... Yes, it was. I enjoyed getting into the Castle No Return tonight. We'll do that a little bit more next time. Maybe if we get started early next time, maybe we can go a little bit longer, but I like going after Fan Gesture. But thank you all. Again, thank you. Danny, Mike, Gray, Whiskey Steve, Captain Pennsylvania, my man Russell, Wu-Tang Wells. Guys, I'll see you all next time. And as I always like to say, in the game of life, may you always roll with advantage. And I'll catch you all in the next